Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the star of our show, Terry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Music and Me. I can't believe I'm saying this, but we are officially kicking off season 4, and I couldn't be more excited to be back here with you. A new season always feels a little special, like a fresh playlist at the start of a new year. Same love for music, same passion for the songs that shaped our lives, but with new stories, new sounds, and new moments to talk about. And what better way to start this season than by diving into one of the biggest nights in music? Today's episode is all about the 2026 Grammy Awards, which are coming up very soon. Specifically, 2 of the most talked about categories every single year. I couldn't do all the categories, so I picked these 2. Song of the Year and Album of the Year. These are the awards that spark debates, group chats, and those "how did that get nominated" conversations we all love to have. Song of the Year is all about the songwriting. The lyrics, the emotion, the way a song can say exactly what you're feeling, sometimes better than we ever could ourselves. Album of the Year, on the other hand, looks at the bigger picture. It's all about the full journey, every track, every transition, and the story an artist tells from beginning to end. In this episode, I'll be walking through the nominees in both categories, sharing what stands out to me, what moved me, what surprised me, and of course, who I'll personally be cheering for if I had a Grammy vote. So, whether you're a diehard music fan who's been following these releases all year, or you're just here because a great song has a way of finding you when you need it most, I am so glad you're listening. I've always loved award shows. There's just something about the excitement, the anticipation, the speeches, the surprises, and when you combine that with music, it honestly feels like the best of both worlds for me. That's why the Grammys have always been so important to me. They bring together 2 things I've loved for as long as I can remember: music and award shows. It's not about who wins or loses, it's about celebrating the songs and albums that defined a year, the ones that stuck with us, and the ones that made us feel something. One of my favorite parts of the Grammy season is learning about the nominees. Sometimes it's artists I already love, and other times it's discovering songs or musicians I might not have listened to otherwise. I love that the Grammys can push me to expand my playlist and give new music a chance, because some of those new to me songs end up becoming my favorites. And of course, we can't talk about the Grammys without talking about the performances, my favorite part of the show. Those are always a highlight for me. Whether it's a stripped down emotional moment or a big, unforgettable production, Grammy performances have a way of making songs feel brand new again. Some of my favorite live music moments have come from that Grammy stage. So for me, this episode isn't just about awards, it's about discovery, appreciation, and celebrating the music that made the past year what it was. And with that, let's start breaking down the Song of the Year nominees. This is always one of my favorite Grammy categories because it's not about how catchy a song is or how often it was played on the radio. Song of the Year is about the songwriting, the lyrics, the melody, and the way a song can capture a feeling, a moment, or an entire year in just a few minutes. These are the songs that get stuck in your head, yes, but more importantly, they get stuck in your heart. They're the ones you sing in the car, play on repeat during a certain season of your life, or hear once and immediately think, wow, that's exactly how I feel. So let's dive into the 2026 Grammy Song of the Year nominees. But before we jump into each nominee, let's quickly set the stage. Song of the Year honors the songwriting, the lyrics, the composition, and the emotional impact. These aren't just hits, they're songs that say something. Songs that captured a moment, a feeling, or an entire mindset this past year. And this year's nominees, they cover a lot of emotional ground. First up, we have Abracadabra by Lady Gaga. This song feels like Lady Gaga doing what she does best, being bold, theatrical, and completely unapologetic. At its core, Abracadabra is about transformation and power, about turning pain, chaos, or confusion into confidence. It's dramatic, a little mysterious, and very Gaga. I think it resonated with me and a lot of other people because it feels like a reclaiming of our identity. It's not subtle, but it's intentional. The theme of creating your own magic really landed with listeners who needed a reminder of their own strength, including me. The standout theme here is reinvention, the idea that you can become whoever you decide to be. This song feels like performance art, and while it might not be the quietest nominee, it absolutely demands attention. I love Abracadabra. I love Lady Gaga, period. But Abracadabra is a very catchy song, and I love it. Next up, we've got Anxiety by Doechii. This song really hits deep. Anxiety is exactly what it sounds like, a raw, unfiltered look at mental health and the constant noise in your head. There's no sugarcoating here, and that's what makes it so powerful. It resonated because so many people felt seen by it. Anxiety isn't abstract in this song. It's personal, specific, and honest. Doechii puts words to feelings a lot of us struggle to explain. The standout theme is mental health and vulnerability, and the courage it takes to talk about it out loud. This is one of the songs where you stop what you're doing and you just listen. I think we all suffer from a little bit of anxiety, so this song resonates with so many people. I mean, I have a lot of anxiety at times, and this song really resonated with me. So I love this song also. The next nominee for Song of the Year is Apate by Rose and Bruno Mars. This song is smooth, stylish, and surprisingly heartfelt. Apate is about connection, the kind that feels effortless but meaningful. It has that laid back groove, but underneath, it's a sense of longing and intimacy. It resonated because it feels timeless in a modern way. It's not chasing trends, it's just good songwriting paired with two artists who know exactly how to sell emotion without overdoing it. The standout theme here is romantic chemistry, that quiet, undeniable pull between two people. This is the kind of song that sneaks up on you and then lives on your playlist. This song is very, very catchy. And by the way, apate means apartment in Korean. So I learned a little bit of Korean just by listening to this song. And it's very, very catchy. I love this song so much. I love to sing it. It is definitely one of my favorites in this category. The next song is DTMF by Bad Bunny. This song feels reflective, emotional, and deeply personal. DTMF explores memory, identity, and emotional honesty. There's a sense of looking back at love, at life, at who you were versus who you are now. It resonated because Bad Bunny continues to show that vulnerability doesn't weaken masculinity, it deepens it. Listeners connected to the openness and emotional depth. The standout theme is nostalgia and self-reflection. This isn't a loud song, but it's a meaningful one. Now, this song is all in Spanish, and I have no idea what Bad Bunny is saying, but after learning about this song, I understand it a little more. And if you use the iTunes translation while you listen to the song, then you know what they're saying. But I love Spanish music. I love music in other languages. Even if I can't understand it, I can always feel it. The next nominee is Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters by the fictional band Huntrix. This one is such a fun and unexpected nominee. Golden is about confidence, unity, and stepping into your power. It's energetic, empowering, and cinematic. Exactly what you'd expect from a song tied to a larger story. It resonated because it's uplifting in a way that feels earned, not cheesy. Makes you feel like you're a part of something bigger. The standout theme is empowerment, especially collective empowerment. This song is definitely my favorite on this list. I love this song so much, and K-Pop Demon Hunters is a very good movie. If you haven't seen it, go to Netflix and watch it. Yes, it's an animated movie. Some people don't like animated movies, but I loved this movie so much, and this song is all about being who you were meant to be. You know, I love those kind of songs. So it's definitely my favorite on this list. Next up, we have Luther by Kendrick Lamar with SZA. This song feels like poetry. Luther is layered, emotional, and thoughtful. It explores love, legacy, and the weight of relationships, both personal and cultural. It resonated because Kendrick and SZA bring such honesty and depth to everything they do. This song isn't flashy, it's intentional. The standout theme is emotional complexity, love that isn't simple, but is real. The song asks you to sit with it. I am not like a huge fan of Kendrick Lamar. I do love SZA, but this song is really, really good, and I can see why it is on this list. The next song is Man Child by Sabrina Carpenter. This song is clever, sharp, and very relatable. Man Child calls out emotional immaturity in relationships, but it does it with humor and confidence instead of bitterness. It resonated because it's empowering without being mean. It feels like laughing after you've healed. The standout theme in this song is self-respect and growth. And this song knows exactly what it's doing. I love Sabrina Carpenter, so of course I love this song, and it's quite humorous if you think about it. The final nominee is Wildflower by Billie Eilish. I love Billie Eilish so much. This song is gentle, emotional, and hauntingly beautiful, like most of her songs. Wildflower feels like grief and love intertwined, about holding on to something fragile and knowing it may not last. It resonated because Billie has a way of making quiet emotions feel enormous. That's why I love her songs so much, like every single song. Billie Eilish is a musical genius, in my opinion. This song, it doesn't beg for attention, it earns it. And the standout theme is love and loss. This one will definitely stay with you. I love all of these songs on the list, but looking at all these nominees together, I'm noticing a lot of vulnerability, reflection, and empowerment. There's less surface level storytelling and more emotional honesty this year. And I personally love that. All right. So if this were my ballot, if I'd personally had to choose just one song of the year, my pick would definitely be, and you can probably guess because I've already mentioned it's my favorite song in this category. It would be Golden from K-Pop Demon Hunters. First of all, this song just won the Golden Globe for Best Original Song, and it was recently nominated for an Oscar. And I'm hoping it wins the Oscar. And that already tells you how impactful this song really is. But beyond the awards, I am completely obsessed with this song. I can listen to it on repeat over and over and over again. It's just very catchy, and I love the message. It's empowering, it's confident, and it makes you feel like you can take on whatever is in front of you. There's something about the way it builds that just lifts you up. You don't just listen to it, you feel it. And let's talk about how catchy it is, as I mentioned. This is one of those songs that really gets stuck in your head in the best way. You hear it once, and suddenly you're humming it later without even realizing it. Sometimes I even wake up with it in my head already. That combination of a strong message and an addictive melody is very hard to beat. What really pushes Golden over the top for me is how it makes empowerment feel exciting instead of heavy. It feels celebratory, it feels triumphant, and it feels like a moment. So yes, while this category is stacked with incredible songwriting, Golden is my song of the year. No hesitation. Okay, everybody. So now that we've talked about the songs, the individual moments that define the year, it is time to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Because while Song of the Year is about one powerful moment, Album of the Year is about the full journey. This category honors the artists who didn't just give us hits, but gave us a complete body of work. Albums that tell a story from start to finish. Albums you listen to all the way through because every track belongs exactly where it is. The kind of albums that feel like a chapter of an artist's life, or even a chapter of our own lives. In a world where playlists and singles dominate, Album of the Year reminds us that there's still something special about pressing play and letting an album unfold the way it was meant to. So let's take a look at the 2026 Grammy Album of the Year nominees and talk about which projects truly stood out this year. This is one of the biggest categories. Album of the Year is where artists really get to show who they are. This award isn't about one standout song, it's about the whole entire experience. The vision, the storytelling, the cohesion. It's about whether an album can hold your attention from the first track all the way to the last without losing its soul along the way. These are the albums you put on during a long drive, the ones you listen to in order because skipping a track just feels wrong. The albums that reflect where an artist is in their life and sometimes where we are in ours too. And this year's nominees, they are bold, deeply personal, genre blending, and emotionally honest. There's vulnerability, confidence, reflection, and experimentation across the board. These albums don't play it safe, and that's what makes this category so exciting. So let's start with the first Album of the Year nominee. Album of the Year nominee number 1 is Debí Tirar Más Fotos by Bad Bunny. And forgive me for my pronunciation. I have a hard time speaking Spanish, but I try my best. This album feels like a snapshot of memory and emotion. Debí tirar más fotos translates to I should have taken more photos. And honestly, that title alone tells you exactly what kind of journey you're about to go on. This album is reflective, nostalgic, and deeply personal. It feels like Bad Bunny looking back at love, at life, at moments that slipped by too quickly. What makes this album resonate so strongly is its emotional honesty. There's a real sense of longing here, of appreciating things only once they're gone. And that's such a universal feeling. We've all had those moments where we wish we had slowed down, paid more attention, or captured a memory just a little more clearly. Sonically, the album blends warmth and introspection. It doesn't feel rushed or flashy, it feels intentional. Every track feels like it belongs, contributing to this larger story of reflection and growth. The standout theme here is nostalgia, not just missing the past, but learning from it. This is the kind of album that grows on you the more you sit with it. It's thoughtful, emotional, and beautifully cohesive. Exactly what an Album of the Year nominee should be. I listened to part of this album. It's really good. My problem is, as I said, I love Spanish music and any music in a language I don't understand. But my problem is I like to sing along and I cannot sing along to Spanish for some reason. I'll work on it. From quiet reflection and nostalgia, let's move into an album that feels like a bold statement, one that's confident, self-aware, and very much rooted in personal evolution. Album of the Year nominee number 2 is Swag by Justin Bieber. This album feels like Justin Bieber fully owning who he is right now. Swag is confident without being flashy, introspective without being heavy, and polished without feeling overproduced. It feels like an artist who has lived a lot of life in the public eye and is finally comfortable standing still and saying, "This is me." At its core, this album is about growth, both personal and artistic. There's a maturity here that feels earned. Instead of chasing trends, swag leans into groove, mood, and emotional restraint. What really resonated with listeners is how grounded this album feels. It's cool without trying too hard, reflective without sounding preachy. You can hear the confidence of someone who knows their voice and isn't afraid to let the music breathe. The standout theme is self-assurance and evolution, not proving anything to anyone, just existing in your truth. This album feels cohesive and intentional, and it works best when you play it straight through. It's a quiet flex, and honestly, that makes it even more powerful. I listened to this entire album and it's pretty good. I'm not a huge Justin Bieber fan. He's all right, but this album was pretty good. Now, let's switch gears again because this next album brings personality, wit, and a whole lot of self-awareness into the Album of the Year conversation. Album of the Year nominee number 3 is Man's Best Friend by Sabrina Carpenter. This album is clever, confident, and completely in on the joke. Man's Best Friend feels like Sabrina Carpenter at her most self-assured, playful, honest, and unafraid to call things exactly as she sees them. There's humor here, but there's also a lot of emotional intelligence underneath it. At its core, this album explores relationships, expectations, and growing into your own voice. It balances vulnerability with sarcasm in a way that feels very modern and very relatable. What really resonated with listeners is how authentic it feels. Sabrina doesn't pretend to have it all figured out. She just tells the truth, even when it's messy or uncomfortable. And somehow she makes that honesty fun. The standout theme here is self-respect and emotional clarity, knowing your worth and not apologizing for it. It's smart, it's catchy, and it knows exactly who it's speaking to. This feels like a major artistic moment for her, and it absolutely deserves its place in this category. I have also listened to this entire album as I love Sabrina Carpenter, and it was a very good album. Not surprised. From clever and playful, we're pivoting into something much grittier and unapologetic. This next album hits hard. It's raw, it's confrontational, and it doesn't hold anything back. Album of the Year nominee number 4 is Let God Sort 'Em Out by Clips, Pusha T, and Malice. This album is bold from start to finish. Let God Sort 'Em Out is unapologetic storytelling at its finest. It dives into themes of street life, survival, ambition, and accountability, all delivered with razor-sharp lyricism. There's a raw honesty here that demands your attention. You feel the weight of every word. It resonates because it's real. The artists aren't sugarcoating anything, and listeners can sense that authenticity. There's power in that kind of unfiltered truth, especially in a world where so much music feels polished for mass appeal. The standout theme, accountability, and resilience, navigating life with integrity even when the world around you is chaotic. This album grabs you, challenges you, and refuses to let you passively listen. It's intense, it's clever, and it's unforgettable. Now, I listened to a couple songs from this album, not really my taste, but, not all music is my taste. So it wasn't my favorite. I think there was a lot of bad words in it, and I don't like that in my music. From gritty and intense, we're swinging back into theatrical and larger-than-life territory. This next album is dramatic, experimental, and absolutely unmistakable classic Lady Gaga energy. Album of the Year nominee number 5 is Mayhem by Lady Gaga. Mayhem is exactly what you expect from Lady Gaga. Bold, theatrical, and completely unafraid to push boundaries. This album is about chaos, love, empowerment, and living unapologetically. Each track feels like a mini performance, whether it's a soaring ballad or a club-ready anthem. Gaga's artistry shines in her ability to make each song feel cinematic, like you're part of the story. It resonated with listeners because it's impossible to ignore. Mayhem isn't just music, it's an experience. There's emotional depth beneath the spectacle, and Gaga manages to balance vulnerability and bravado flawlessly. The standout theme: bold self expression and reclaiming power. This is Gaga doing what she does best, being herself and daring the world to keep up. I can't stop thinking about the way this album blends drama, emotion, and sheer fun. Every song feels like a statement, and it's impossible not to be drawn in. Now, as you know, I love Lady Gaga, so of course I listened to this entire album, and I love this album, as I love Lady Gaga. I've always loved her, even when she wore the meat dress. She's just being herself. From theatrical mayhem, we're shifting into something deeply thoughtful and layered. This next album demands attention, not just for its sound, but for the story it tells, the perspectives it shares, and the artistry behind every note. Album of the Year nominee number 6 is GNX by Kendrick Lamar. GNX is classic Kendrick, intelligent, introspective, and unapologetically complex. This album explores identity, society, love, and the struggles of navigating life under constant scrutiny. Kendrick blends personal storytelling with cultural commentary, and the result is an album that feels both intimate and expansive. You're listening to someone who's wrestling with the world and inviting you to wrestle right alongside him. It resonated with listeners because it challenges you. It doesn't spoon feed you emotions or messages. It asks you to think, to feel, and to reflect. Every track is purposeful, and every lyric is layered. The standout theme: self-reflection and societal awareness, holding a mirror up to both yourself and the world. GNX isn't background music, it's an experience you sit with. It's smart, emotional, and memorable in a way that only Kendrick can pull off. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Kendrick Lamar, as I mentioned before, but I did listen to a few songs on this album. Once again, not my favorite kind of music, but I gave it a go. From deep reflection and social commentary, we're now shifting into something eclectic, soulful, and full of heart. This next album blends genres, moods, and textures in a way that's totally unique. An artist really experimenting and showing off their creative range. Album of the Year nominee number 7 is Mutt by Leon Thomas. Mutt is all about bold experimentation and soulful storytelling. Leon Thomas isn't afraid to mix sounds, blend genres, and take risks, and it shows in every track. The album feels like a journey through different emotional landscapes, from introspective moments to high-energy bursts. It keeps you engaged the whole way through. At its core, this album explores self-discovery and authenticity. It's about embracing every part of who you are, the messy, the beautiful, and the unexpected. You can feel the artist pouring himself into each song. It resonated with listeners because of the honesty and unpredictability. You never know exactly where the next track will take you, but it always feels meaningful. The standout theme: identity and creative freedom, fully expressing yourself without compromise. This album has a refreshing energy that makes you want to listen all the way through, and it's impossible not to appreciate the artistry and courage behind it. Now, I listened to a few songs from this album. It was okay. I'm more in the pop world, so the R&B, rap, hip-hop stuff, they're not my favorite. I do like some of it. But, you know, Album of the Year includes all genres, so. And now we've reached the final nominee in the Album of the Year category. This last album closes out the category with style, innovation, and unmistakable personality. It's bold, it's creative, and it reminds us why Tyler, the Creator, is such a force in music today. Album of the Year nominee number 8 is Chromacopia by Tyler, the Creator. Chromacopia is quintessential Tyler. Imaginative, unpredictable, and full of character. This album feels like a carefully curated universe, with each track contributing to a larger artistic vision. Tyler blends genres, textures, and moods in ways that are uniquely his own, creating an experience that's as much about style as it is about substance. At its heart, this album is about self expression and exploration. Tyler isn't just making music, he's building a world for listeners to step into, one that's bold, playful, and sometimes challenging. It resonated with listeners because it's fun, experimental, and completely authentic. You can hear Tyler's personality in every note, and that sense of artistry makes it unforgettable. The standout theme, creativity, and individuality, owning your voice and daring to do it in your way. This album is vibrant, clever, and layered. It's a perfect closing statement for a category filled with such diverse talent. I did like this album. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but I listened to a few songs and I really liked this album. Okay, so here's the thing about Album of the Year. This is a really tough category. Honestly, I don't really have a single favorite. Every album in this category is strong, unique, and brilliant in its own way. Some of them are not my taste, but, I'm open minded. If I had to pick who I'd root for, I would probably lean toward Lady Gaga's Mayhem or Sabrina Carpenter's Man's Best Friend. Why? Because I love their voices, their artistry, and the way they express themselves on these albums. Gaga's album is bold, theatrical, and unapologetic. Everything we expect from her and more. Sabrina's album is clever, sharp, and full of personality, which makes it so much fun to listen to. But really, all of these albums bring something different to the table. From Kendrick Lamar's deep storytelling, to Tyler's creative boldness, to Bad Bunny's reflective nostalgia, each one stands out in its own way, and I honestly feel like any of them could take home the award and deserve it. So yeah, I don't have a clear pick this time, but that's kind of what makes this category so exciting. It's a reminder of how many amazing albums there are right now and how rich and diverse music has become. Whoever wins in this category, I promise to you all that I will listen to the whole album, even if it wasn't one of my favorites. What a lineup this year, right, people? Both Song of the Year and Album of the Year. Honestly, just talking about all these nominees reminds me of how incredible music is right now. From Lady Gaga to Sabrina Carpenter to Kendrick, Bad Bunny, Tyler, and everyone in between. These artists gave us so much to celebrate. And it's honestly hard to pick just one winner in either category. As for me, I had a clear pick for Song of the Year, Golden, because I'm obsessed with it. I just love the message and it's so catchy. The Album of the Year, I don't have a favorite this time, but I'd probably root for Lady Gaga or Sabrina Carpenter because I love them. But really, every album here deserves the recognition. It's just such a strong, diverse group of work, and that's what makes this category so exciting. I also want to take a moment to let you in on something new for season 4. I'm doing things a little differently this season. Instead of releasing episodes every week, I'm going to be putting out 2 episodes a month on the first Wednesday and the third Wednesday because it'll give me a little more time to prepare each episode so I can make them the best they can be. And it also lets me enjoy my days off without feeling so stressed. I really love doing this podcast and I love sharing music with everybody. But I realized that trying to put an episode out every week while working full time was starting to get a little bit overwhelming sometimes. So this new schedule just feels right. I still get to dive into the music I love and I still get to connect with all of you. But now I can do it without feeling rushed. Our next episode will be on the first Wednesday of February, which is the 4th. And trust me, it's going to be a good one. I don't quite know what it's going to be yet, but it'll be good. I can't wait for you to hear it. So until then, keep listening, keep loving music, and keep finding those songs and albums that make life a little brighter. Thank you, everybody, for joining me for this Grammy recap. It has been so much fun, and I'm so glad to be back and have you along for the ride. Peace out, everybody. This has been the Music and Me podcast. Subscribe now so you don't miss a beat.